Hi, everybody. It's Alisa Murray here. Hi, my sweet lifers. Listen, today we're doing another wonderful Sweet Life in Christ. And today I'm with Father Andrew. Thanks for being here today, Father.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thank
we're
you.
going to be talking about Bartholomew.
Bartholomew, yeah, or Saint Bart.
Yeah.
We're almost through the site. We're a third of the way through them. So here we go.
Yeah.
So again, we're now getting towards the disciples. We don't have a whole lot of source material on in the scriptures, but we have a lot of tradition
Right.
on and traditional thoughts. And Bartholomew is one of those. He's so in the synoptic gospels, those being Matthew, Mark, Luke, they refer to him as Bartholomew. And
Right.
Bartholomew was, excuse me, he was one of the one of the earlier called disciples of Jesus. He was always named with Philip in
Right.
those three gospels. Now, however, John refers to him as Nathaniel. In John, the acquaintance of Philip is Nathaniel, and he's with him there. So the reason that we believe that those names changed was later on in his life he went to India, and there's belief that that's what he was called in India. And John was written way after
Right.
the synoptic gospels,
Right.
and so perhaps that's why he called him Nathaniel, because that's at the time what he was known at. But however it was, these were the guy. This the guy who walked with Jesus. He was with Philip. He was introduced to Jesus by Philip, as we heard last time. But after it's funny that he was introduced. He had this little skepticism when he was introduced to Philip. His famous words were, "What good could come out of Nazareth?"
I know. I remember.
And so he met Jesus, and that opened the door to him. It's also that evangelizing that led to his death. So he took off, he went out and started spreading the good news. He's very instrumental in starting the church in Armenia.
Okay.
He also went to India along with Thomas and traveled that way. But Armenia is really where he was known and really where he took off. In fact, it was what caused his death, what caused his martyrdom, because he converted the king of Armenia, Polemius, to Christianity. And they weren't happy about that, so that led to his death.
Wow.
But it all started from a skepticism. A skepticism that what he was hearing wasn't in fact true. So we go back. We talked about it on our last episode with Philip. Philip met Jesus. He saw Jesus. And Jesus said, follow me. And so Philip's like, okay, I will, but hold on. I got to bring a guy. I know who I need to bring. So he went to Bartholomew. Or Nathaniel, whichever gospel. This one. So this account is from the Gospel of Matthew. So I'll refer him as Nathaniel right here in this part. He went to Nathaniel.
Right.
Nathaniel said, "What good could come out of Nazareth?" And
Right.
all Philip said was, "Come and see." Send a simple invitation. So he's like, "Okay, fine." He followed Philip to Jesus, and Jesus told him, "Here is a man with whom there's no deceit." And Nathaniel's like, "Wait a minute. How did you know? How do you know me? You don't know me." And then he told him where he knew him. "I saw you sitting under the tree," or whatever. And that was it. It was an aha moment. So he went from skeptic to a believer. Mm-hmm. And kind of like Thomas, we go back to Thomas being known as Doubting Thomas and how unfair that was. Here's another moment of a disciple that didn't quite believe what he heard and was given the opportunity to believe. Mm-hmm. So he took that skepticism of what he was being told and put that aside and said, "I will check it out," and put himself in. And that led him to do some great things. Start a church in Armenia and even convert a king, even though that led to his death. And those guys, they saw in death there's glory. Right. And he converted this very powerful person to Christianity by his gospel, by the simple invitation, "Come and see." And so I'm trying to think of these. We've looked at how can we connect ourselves today with those disciples, and there's been and I think skepticism. We're all skeptics, right? We all can be skeptical of something that God's calling us. So we've talked about this in the past in some of our videos about how we just don't know why are you calling me to do this, God? There's no way I could do this, or I don't believe
bigger.
that.
It feels bigger than what you feel like you can do, and sometimes it's overwhelming, and you're like, you kind of know. It's kind of like where I'm at too, even now. I kind of know I've been called. I mean, I know I've been called, but I
Yeah.
kind of know I've been called in a big way. Have I stepped my foot into asking you about seminary? Nope. Haven't gone there yet.
Yeah.
Should I? Probably.
Yeah.
But it's what now? What now?
Yeah.
What have I done? What am I opening up this can of worms? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And when you go and you convert a king,
Yeah.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
going to change the whole entire
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise. He had to have known
Yeah.
that with that decision and with that actual affirmation,
Yeah.
that his death was going to be imminent, because he had upset more than one apple
Oh, yeah.
cart.
Yeah.
And in doing that,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where,
Yeah.
but yeah, being skeptical about everything. Well, I'm not skeptical anymore. I
Yeah.
just am kind of like, baby steps, Lord.
Exactly.
Baby steps.
Wait, let's hold up.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all
Give me
in,
my
but baby
time.
steps. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure yet, but
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I mean, it's like all of us though that are called
Yeah.
in any way,
Yeah.
big or small.
Yeah.
You have to actually. We do scratch our heads.
Yeah.
We do scratch our heads.
You brought up seminary, and there's a moment in seminary where I became extremely skeptical. I was like, this is actually, I talked to you about my calling to the priesthood, and I was very skeptical about it. I was like, there's no way I could do that. I don't want to. But in seminary, I still had that. After my first year and going into midler year, it became hard. I had some, stuff at my home parish that blew up, and I didn't get a scholarship that I really wanted to help, that would really help our family.
Right.
And I was like, God, I don't think this is what I'm called to do. And there was a moment where I thought, I don't know if I can go forward. And I spoke to my friend, and I spoke to I think I spoke to my bishop. I spoke to others, like, yes, stick it out.
Yeah.
Stick it out. And the same when Nolan died. He died in my last year in seminary, and I didn't know how I was going to go back, but I did.
Yeah.
So there's times where it was, I was skeptical. There's no way I could do this, and God gave me the ability to do that. In Nathaniel's case, God gave him the tools to trust in Him,
Right.
to know that this is what that I am the real deal. That yes, good things can come out of Nazareth. In seminary, he lifted up my friend. He lifted up a professor, my bishop, that affirmed it in me, like, you can do this.
Right.
Or when Nolan died, when putting people around me that could help me walk that and navigate the rest of my seminary. And but yeah, I was skeptical. I was like, there's no way I could do this.
Yeah, and it's almost like you feel like there's like, you're in the right thing, and then it's like, oh, there's the block. How do I get around that block? And for those of you that are watching the channel, the block is not Jesus, the block is Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it looks like.
Yep.
For all the times that we've talked about what does Jesus look like in us, through us, daily, what Satan looks like is not something standing around in a red outfit with a cute little tail and a pitchfork.
No.
It's the blocks on your dream.
Yeah.
It's the
tearing yourself down, like, I don't.
all of the bad things that you self-talk.
Yeah.
Just stuff. Anything that you can think of that happens that's a setback, it's Satan.
Yeah.
And that's what he looks like. And you have to be able to see that, because it's like, okay, Prophet Griffin, okay? And Prophet. You don't know him personally, but from
I've heard,
through me.
you talked about
Prophet Griffin was on the phone with me, guys, like, I don't know. He was on the phone with me a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And he said, that storm came through. It was the storm we had that they said it was going to be a storm, and it was really a hurricane.
Yeah.
And he goes, that storm came through, and I was supposed to be on an airplane. I have to go to a festival, because he, does all of his sermons all over the place in tents. And he said, and it tore a big old hole in the roof, and I just thought that was hysterical, because Satan was trying to keep me from getting on that plane. But we just put a big old blue tarp on that sucker, and I got right back on that plane. If it had happened the day before, I might have had a different idea. But now that the way that it was timed, I was able to still get on the plane and go do what I need to do to serve the Lord. And he sees, like I see, when people come to me, oh, this is happening, or there's this problem, or there's this problem. The problem is Satan.
Yeah.
The problem is not Jesus.
Yep.
The problem is Satan.
Yep.
And the counteract of that is to pray.
Yeah. And Jesus gives us the tool to overcome
Exactly.
Satan, to put Satan behind us and allow us to go forward. And you're right, absolutely right. When there's skepticism getting in the way, when there's self-doubt, when there's these things that stops or tries to stop us from fulfilling our life as Christians, as disciples, that's all Satan and sin in the world. That's trying to tell us that's not the Spirit. That's not God telling us to stop.
No.
It's Satan telling us to stop.
And that's why when people get really serious about their faith and you really understand what that looks like, when you start to see things that are popping up that are trying to keep you from doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, and you recognize that that is what that is, it becomes ever more prevalent to you at how in the world Satan is working every day to tear down all the good.
Yeah.
And it's just as crystal clear as water.
Yeah.
But when you're not in your faith and you're not vetted in the faith and you're not watching and looking and leaning in and all of that, you don't know that that's what that is. You're seeing it as something else, maybe something that you didn't do, or should have done, or could have done, or would have done, or whatever, when it really is boldly Satan stepping in and trying to prevent you from being all that you're supposed to be in Christ.
Yeah.
Just is what it is.
It's true. Yep.
So.
And it's just, it goes back to not letting that stop us from, or letting that skepticism, that the thing that's causing us to be skeptical, which is Satan, that's always trying to pull us off away from Jesus.
Yeah.
Not letting that define us, letting God walk us through, letting God show us why it is God's calling us to do these things, why it is we're being introduced to God, why it is we're doing something.
Right.
And God will show us, God will give us the tools to help us.
Always.
Pull us
There's
through.
never, what is it they always say? You'll never dream a dream bigger than what God has given you the tools to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah, it certainly is.
That's scary. For people like me, that's a scary situation because I've always had great, big dreams.
Yep.
Which is why when I had all the heart stuff going on and all that other stuff, I said, God's not done. The doctor came out, he's like, I don't know why or how you're still here. You've had all these heart attacks and everything's all jacked up, but you're still here. Yeah. I said, because I'm supposed to be.
Exactly.
God's not done with me yet.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So.
And God wasn't done with Nathaniel or Bartholomew when he said, I don't trust that. God wasn't done with him. No. He just gave him what he needed to
be able to do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I hope you found some value in our episode with Bartholomew / Nathaniel.
Yeah.
And if you did, do us a favor, like and share. Don't forget to ring the bell. And we'll see you soon on another Sweet Life in Christ. Take care.